Yeah, this is going to be a nightmare editing this audio. I apologize in advance. This episode is going to be a nightmare with the wind, but I wanted to do a little stream on the beach of Cardiff Beach. Pacific Ocean, San Diego County. Been here for about 2 weeks, exploring, meeting people, making friends, enjoying time with my old friends, my family. It's been a time. Oh lordy, we've had a time. A lot of nature, a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, a lot of lessons. Kept safe, learned a lot, had fun, and been kind to people. What up, y'all? Welcome in. This is episode whatever. I am falling behind. I'm having to edit too much. I'm also having too much fun. Sorry. Sorry, y'all. We'll get around to it. We'll put these out when I can. Welcome in. It is December 15th, 2025. Again, we are at Cardiff Beach. San Elijo, I think, or it's Cardiff State Beach. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. The weather's perfect. It's San Diego in December. It's Christmas time. Down the beach that way, down the beach that way. There are beautiful decorated Christmas trees on the beach. Welcome to paradise. Welcome to your winter wonderland paradise as you're watching this in like February or whatever. Merry Christmas, y'all. Happy holidays. What's up, what's up, what's up? This isn't going to be too long. I might not want to do hours and hours of editing, especially if I'm an idiot and I delete my recordings and I edit a bunch. That's a whole side story, but we'll try to keep this as brief as possible, but I want to talk about a few things. Let's rant, let's complain, let's ramble, let's motivate, let's encourage, let's inspire, but also let's gripe. But also let's theorize, but also let's speculate and opinionate, opine, philosophize. I did shout out to my mom, been hanging out with my mom. It's been awesome seeing her house and all that kind of stuff, but man, I found out the worst news ever about my mom. That she herself is one of those parking lot crazies that when I am in a parking lot in my truck because I'm a man and I'm going to back into a spot because it's just smarter, it's more convenient, it's easier to get out, it's less dangerous getting out of your spot when you back into it. You have more vision, you can see pedestrians better, it's a quicker exit. There's a lot of reasons why you want to do the hard work first. You want to get the job done and back into the parking spot, so that when you leave, it's just a nice, easy pull-out, you know? No danger, no stress, no complications. But apparently in the West Coast, they just don't do that. I guess that's a South thing and a kind of a Midwest thing, but my mom, as I complained on an earlier stream about people who I don't understand why when I'm backing into a spot, you gotta just jump and drive right up on my butt, you know? Literally block it so close that you're blocking me from even being able to back up. It's like, what do you think you're accomplishing here? Just wait. Why would you get that close anyways? You know? Even if an idiot didn't know what he was doing in a parking lot, like, you're not going to go anywhere. You're going to have to wait for me to park anyways. Now you're awkwardly going to have to back up weirdly and awkwardly, and now I feel like a jerk because I'm just trying to simply back into my parking spot, you know? Not even like we're fighting over the same spot. It's just, why are you doing that? Turns out my mom is literally one of those people, and it was devastating. It's devastating, man. It do for real be your own people sometimes, you know? For real though, it do be your own people. Heartbreaking, man. Betrayal. It was an epic betrayal by my mom. Come on, Mom, don't do that. And I had to like explain to her, I'm like, this is why, this is the logic behind it. Just give us time, give us space. We'll be out of your way in no time. You don't have to cramp my vibe, cramp my flow, you know? Yeah, I went to this beautiful African church with my mom as well. It was awesome. It's an Episcopal church with a lot of African refugees from Sudan and Congo. The most epic, weird blend of traditional with modern, with urban, with like rural, with American white, with African, like sub-Saharan black, you know? It was awesome. It was hilarious. The food was great. The music was great. The people were great. And they had this funny thing where they really don't like the cold. Like, obviously they're from Africa, you know, they really don't like the cold, but even more, they don't like trees. They don't like a lot of trees. Like, it's like an instinctual thing they have about, like, there's danger in the trees. You always have to be watching who's coming out of the trees, what's in the trees, animals, people, you know, whatever it is. There's threats in the trees, you know. So they don't really like being around a lot of it. It creeps them out. Like, them in a forest creeps them out more than it would creep us out, you know. But it was just funny hearing these like beautiful, funny, awesome African people just be like, yeah, I don't like Buffalo, New York. Not because it's freezing cold and it snows 2 feet high. They can put up with that. They can tolerate that. Their number one complaint is just too many trees. They literally said, too many trees. I don't like it. Ew, no, gross. Can't do it. Can't live there. Can't move there. Like, they'll put up with the cold, but hilariously, the trees are the problem. And I said it too. I might have said it on a stream, I might have not, but I just had the same exact thought in Oregon. I was driving around the middle of nowhere in Oregon, and there were too many trees, man. Something about it was like there was too many of them, and they were too close. And it is like a spooky, creepy feeling, especially like at sunset or sunrise or something when it's like a little dark. Not crazy dark where you can't see the trees, but not bright. It's like a weird thing that happens, like when the sun's kind of not fully there. With those trees, man, they get spooky. They do get creepy, they do get spooky, and I was like, dude, just cut these things down, man. Cut these things down, or I just gotta get out of here. Just get them out of my face. Cut them down, get them out of here. Too many trees, too cold. And it's hilarious. I mean, San Diego's a big refugee immigration spot. Obviously, it's on the border, so we're getting a lot of, immigrants, legal and illegal, from the south. But also it's an international place, like a refugee hub. So we get a lot of Africans, we get a lot of like Asians, people who are fleeing war-torn countries and stuff like that. And they're fun, they're cool, they're awesome, but this is like exactly the place where they should be. Like they should be moving these people to San Diego. It makes sense. They fit in, the weather's great. It's a very diverse place already. And the more they come here, they make little enclaves, they make little communities for themselves, they find their little churches and like gather, together as little families and community pods or whatever. But then we just like keep sending these people to like Minneapolis and Buffalo and like Canada. And it just is so dumb. And we'll get to this, but it's so retarded, dude. They just don't belong there. They shouldn't be there. It's not even the trees, it's the cold. It's like the freezing cold that's just not good for their bodies, not good for their health, not good for their communities. Like, those people need to not leave Congo and go to Buffalo, New York. You know what I mean? You shouldn't be taking someone from Somalia and putting them in Minneapolis. You shouldn't be taking someone from Syria and putting them into like Dearborn, Michigan, And, that's obviously, if we're going to be real, wink, wink, let's be real talk real quick. Obviously, it's on purpose. Obviously, there's, some white genocide stuff kind of happening. There's some stuff, population replacement going on, There's a lot of nefarious things as to why they're moving these people around, no matter what they tell us, no matter what they, with a straight face tell us publicly. There's some reasons why they're doing it, but it just is so mean. It's so cruel. It's so, like, for both people. For, like, the white population that probably should be. Like, whiter peoples should just be in the north. And, browner people, more indigenous kind of people, more equatorian, equator region people should be by the equator. Like, they should be with their sun. They should be here. Like, me, white guy Sean, should not, like, move from Illinois to San Diego. Like, I don't belong here. It's like I am invading by moving to San Diego when I did in the past. It's like I don't belong here. It's like too hot, And I've been going around the city, it's weird. It's the first time I've been back in San Diego since I moved to Tennessee in 6 years. So it's wild how, a lot of things change, a lot of things don't. Run into a lot of people actually weirdly along the way. It's kind of cool. Seeing some friends and then running into some old coworkers and stuff. But, I'm driving around town and it's a lot more brown. In 6 years, it's like very, very more brown people, brown art, Azteca, like art and stuff, Mexican art, Mexican flags everywhere, It's just a much more like the immigrants, the people from other countries that are brown are moving to San Diego and having kids, so the next generation's more brown, But it's like, I'm not even like mad about it. I'm like, this is kind of their place. Like, this is kind of where they belong. Like, it is kind of like we should probably just, I don't want to say it, but, if we're going to start giving away land or balkanization in America, it's kind of like, give the Browns this area. You know what I mean? This is kind of where they belong. And then we can be a little more strict about, not letting them come or pushing them out or whatever the solution out there. Whatever solution you're gonna have to move these people out of the north where they don't belong, that isn't going to offend you, just pretend that's my solution. I agree with you on what we're going to do, but the end result should be like, white people should just kind of live where it's cold. And like brown people should kind of live where it's hot, to put it simply. To be like a caveman about it, like brown people, good in sun, live where sun is. White people, good in cold, live where cold is. Whoa. Like, it doesn't really take a genius to understand that, you know, but we're getting complicated and we're getting nefarious around here, and there's a lot of feelings and emotions about the whole topic, you know, you got to dance around and walk around. But yeah, there was like really cool art. I was really like, San Diego is just a giant construction site, apparently. Everything's being torn down and built up into giant high-rises and apartments and new buildings, and you know, for better and for worse, the gentrification process. It's like sometimes that's good, sometimes it is bad. But a lot of really cool art wall murals. You know, San Diego has these public art trail things where they paint the utility boxes. They let artists paint these beautiful murals. It's not just like tag graffiti. It's like beautiful pictures, you know, on like the utility boxes around town. So San Diego is just so cool, man. It's so much art. It's the best weather. It's awesome. It really is a place where I, like, if I was like a trillionaire and I just wanted to live life well, I would move to San Diego again. I lived here for 6 years. I'd move back and ball out here. You know, it's beautiful. The people are awesome. The people are beautiful. There's a lot of art. There's a lot of potential. It's a growing city. It's a bustling city. It's the motion city. Everyone is moving and shaking. They're walking, they're running, they're riding scooters. You know, it just is like a good, positive vibes, good work ethic, good, like, you know, for California. It's like more morally sound, better family units, that kind of thing, you know. But again, it's like I just don't really, it's like my blood doesn't fit in here. It's like I'm not supposed to be here. My ancestors like did not adapt and evolve for thousands and thousands of years to eventually get to the point where they're pushing me out, and then I just abandon all those years and years and decades and generations and centuries, you know, of just like adapting to cold environments. And then I break the chain because I want to go like have fun and feel good in San Diego, you know. I want to like eat good food and enjoy the art and like have fun with people, you know. It'd be kind of selfish of me. It's like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't be here. Maybe I should be somewhere where it's a little more cold, a little more mountainous or something, you know. But it's not, but we visit, we enjoy, we behold, we have fun. But then we go on our merry way back to our home where we belong, white folk. Go back to your home, white folk. Get on going to your home out of here, white folk. Get out of here. Get, white folk. Which is what's going to happen soon, you know. It is funny because everyone here is so obsessed with immigration. Like, every conversation just has to eventually get back to, like, Trump is horrible. Immigration is the biggest problem facing humanity today. It's horrible. It's a nightmare. I can't believe what's happening. And it's like not happening. Like, it's like not really happening. Trump is not really doing it. They're pretending to do it. They're acting like they're doing it. They're doing it for the cameras. And they're going hard a little bit in front of the cameras, almost on purpose. Almost it seems like for a nefarious purpose to kind of rile people up, you know? Almost like they want the Democrats to get riled up and angry and energized, you know? Almost like they want to leave behind a legacy of, like, meanness and energize the opposite base, you know, while simultaneously pretending not to deport people and actually doing what your base wanted to do, you know. But we'll conspiracy talk for a later day. The point I'm trying to make, or I guess get to, is just it's funny how everyone here in San Diego and in California is like so crazy and obsessed with like, oh no, immigration, high alert, be aware, let's protect each other. And it's like, dude, no one's coming for Californians. Like, your mayors are going to protect them, your police are going to protect them, your governor protects, like, no one's coming for the immigrants in California, dude, you know? It's just kind of funny. It's kind of funny how people can get so obsessed with something that doesn't matter to them at all. And it's like, may or may not matter to people like over in like Oklahoma or like Florida or, you know, Tennessee or something like that, you know. But it's just so funny how people can get wrapped up and like emotionally charged about something because the TV tells them to. Because something bad's happening on the other side of the world, so no matter what is happening in my community, let's disregard all the homeless, let's disregard all the drug use, let's disregard all the stupidity going around, all the problems economically, all this just bad stuff happening in our community right now. It's falling apart. But we're all going to care really passionately about something over there that's not going to come for us here because we're pretty safe and protected from it. it's just interesting. It's funny where people put their care, where they choose to put their care, and I'm just like, I don't really get it. You should be putting that care into something more actively productive here and now in your community. But instead, it's like the screens just get us so caught up in stuff over there that we can't change or affect and isn't going to happen to us and doesn't matter to our community, really. You know, you're an immigrant, legal or illegal in San Diego, dude, you're good. You're fine, dude. Just don't go back and forth on the border. You're probably going to be just fine, okay? You know? It's funny. But then it is funny here because, like, here, you know, I work with Hispanics. I work in construction. I work landscaping. I was like the boss of construction companies, landscape companies, and stuff. So I had a lot of crews where I had to really speak Spanish, and I had to really make friends with people who are like not from this country. You know what I mean? But most of the people I worked with in Nashville were Guatemalans and Hondurans. And a little bit of El Salvadorian, a little bit of Mexican as well, but, you know, for whatever reason, Nashville's kind of become the enclave for, like, Guatemalans and Hondurans, like the Golden Triangle people, you know? And working with these people, I've learned how much they are, like, racist. They're so racist, and they hate Mexicans. They, like, really have this beef against Mexicans. You know, they'll still take a Mexican side over a gringo. You know, if I'm over here and they're fighting, it's like they have to pick between their primo, their cousin Mexican, they'll pick the Mexican. The gringo still has to earn a little bit more respect. You know what I mean? And I would get to the point. I was like the cool boss. I was the good boss. I would get to the point where after some time I'd prove myself. I'd work alongside them just as hard as them. I'd do the dirty tasks along with them. I'd be nice to them, I'd reward them, I'd compliment them. You know, it's more like I was that leader that's like, let's do this together. I'm not behind them cracking a whip saying, you know, go. So I'm the gringo that shows up and proves himself and earns their respect, you know. But it's still really hard to get even past that Mexican primo, that cousin, you know. But they're always a cousin. Because when they talk to each other, when it's, you know, a Guatemalan and a Honduran and an El Salvadorian kind of, you know, Central American Golden Triangle person, if they're in a room together, they're going to call each other paisa. Hey, paisa! Paisa! ¿Qué pasa? Hey, paisa! Ahí, aquí! Ayúdame! Ayúdame, paisa! Come here, aquí! And it's like countryman, patriot. You know, if you were an American, you went to Europe, you ran into an American, you'd be like, hey, my brother, my American countryman. It's like that, like, we are united. We are brothers. We are blood. We are the same tribe, you know? Hey, brother. Hey, countrymen, tribesmen, you know? So it's like this affectionate, respectful thing that they just have for each other, literally just because of the blood, just because of the race, you know, which is cool. I respect it. I like it. To me, it's like a wholesome, cool thing. But you won't see them call a Mexican a paisa. Very rarely. They might have to be mixed or something, but they will not call a Mexican paisa. And I was talking to someone out here about that. I was playing disc golf the other day at Morley Field. Awesome place, beautiful place. And really, if you're ever in San Diego, definitely check out Balboa Park. Don't miss it. And if you have a day, go play disc golf in Morley Field, which is inside Balboa Park. Just trust me on that. Just take my word for it and do it when you're in San Diego. The beach is cool. The food is great. Everything's cool. Go play disc golf at Balboa Park for sure for a couple hours when you're in San Diego. But back to my story. I'm hanging out. I'm making friends with these guys. I teamed up. I was playing by myself. Teamed up with a few guys, and they were, you know, Spanish speakers. And I'm like goofy and I'm fun. They're like, hey, how's it going? My name's Sean. You know, nice to meet you. Yeah. And they actually invited me. You want to play with us? I'm like, yeah. What's your names? Let's go. And then they have to start having like little side conversations in Spanish. You know, totally like kind of about me. They weren't being mean. They weren't being offensive, but they were kind of talking about me. You know. And they were talking about other stuff too. It wasn't like they were just being like jerks, gossiping or whatever. But you know, they were having these little side conversations in Spanish. And we played for about an hour, and there just came a point where I just was like, oh, yeah, aprendiendo español, yeah, poquito español, comprende mucho, pero, you know, no speak it bueno, you know? And the look on their face, I mean, I said it even better than that. That was a little broken, you know? But the look on their face just dropped. You know, it was like that, like they'd just seen a ghost look, like, what the hell? This dumb idiot white gringo can, like, just understood everything we were talking about for the last hour. Like, sí way. But turns out they're Guatemalan. It's weird in San Diego, long story short, because San Diego obviously is a border, shares a border with Mexico. It's definitely much more Mexicans, but as well, I mean, those other countries do go through Mexico to come here. So it's a mix here, but it just is much different. It's much different than in Nashville, where it's way more like Golden Triangle people, and the Mexicans are maybe more of a minority. Here, it's just not even close. It's everyone is Mexican, you know? But I was talking to these guys from Guatemala. We were talking, we were laughing, we were joking. After the ghost face wore off, after their shock wore off, we started like kind of having talks in Spanish and in English. But we were talking about that beef, the Guatemalan Mexican beef. And I wrote it down. He said the funniest thing, like so funny, you know? He just said it with a straight face. What was it? I don't want to butcher it. He said, and I quote, I was like, yeah, why do you guys hate Mexicans so much? Like, they're cool. Hey, primos, right? And he was like, they would eat us if they could. They would eat us if they could. I was like, oh yeah, I kind of forgot about that. I kind of forgot that, like, you guys are this weird little, like, a smaller peoples, like a tribe that is, like, smaller and more, like, physically less imposing and strong. Something about their blood's a little more chill, a little more, like, family-oriented, in-group preference, a little more just chill. They're much more like a farming people, an agricultural kind of chill, let's hang out, have fun, dance, you know, kind of people. Mexicans are they got a little more fire in them. They got a little more of that hot heat. They're taller, they're physically stronger, you know, they got there's something there where there's just fire there to them, you know. And we were talking about it, I was like, oh yeah, and we were laughing because it's like they totally were like the wolves and the deer. You know what I mean? It's like predator prey forever. The Aztecs were the Mexicans who would come down to the Golden Triangle and steal their people and bring them to like giant ornate temples, stone temples, and like cut their hearts out and eat them while they were still beating. Like throw their children and babies into fires, you know? Like brutal, brutal, brutal stuff, you know, and that was the relationship. It was like the Mexicans were just the predators preying upon these weak, tiny, cute little Ewok-like Guatemalans, you know. And it's like still there. I mean, it's like still in them. We're not that far removed from people ripping out each other's hearts and eating them, you know. Yeah, the Golden Triangle people are just more like lovable. They're nice. They're kind. They're caring. They're funny, you know. They're like teddy bears. They are little Ewoks, like for real. They're like little fuzzy, tiny little Ewoks. But they also can work hard. Don't get me wrong, man. Guatemalans will outwork you. I'll roll up to a job site, big, strong me, with like 3 little tiny Guatemalans, and they all 3 will outwork me. I will get more in my shovel than they will. Say we're all digging a hole. I can get more power. I can get more force. Each shovel load of mine is going to be bigger, and I might get a little bit of a lead at first. But boy, will they just keep going. They have efficiency. They will just use leverage. They are smart. They're crafty. They'll find the straight and narrow path to things. You know, they'll find the shortcut. They'll find the easy route. They'll do what it takes to get the job done quickly. They're some of the best workers, man. But they're literally small, and they are like prey animals. More so than like the Mexicans, you know, the mestizos. But yeah, we were joking. I was like, yeah, I mean, you guys are lucky that whites are still around because, you know, when the whites showed up, it was like, hey, no more of that stuff. No more of that Azteca, Dia de Muertes, death cult, sacrifice stuff, you know. Sorry. The child sacrifice ends. Sorry. White people are here. No more eating live beating hearts that you just ripped out of someone, you know, on top of a stone pyramid. Sorry. But we were joking. I was joking with my little brown friends, my Guatemalan bros, about that. About just, yeah. Whites, whatever you think of them, it's like if they kind of disappeared, those Aztecs, that tribe of Mexicans will be eating that tribe of Guatemalans in no time. They'd be eating people in no time, you know? So thank some white people. Thank a white person today. Guatemalans, Hondurans. Didn't want to talk about this. I went to this beautiful little concert. It was like at a special needs daycare kind of thing for like adult special needs people. It was like a little Christmas concert. Wholesome, beautiful, amazing. Dude, it was like uplifting and such a, like, you can't not smile. You have a room full of people that just want to dance and have fun and feel good. You can't leave that room without feeling just good, you know? About feeling good about yourself and humanity and just feeling good, positive vibes, you know? Watching these people with huge smiles on their face, dancing with each other, dancing by themselves, just getting down, you know? It was awesome. But as you might know, if you're a listener of my show, you probably know and understand and probably are mad that I use the word retard. I use it often, and you can be offended by it. I don't care, you know? You can not like that I do it. Okay, you can have that opinion. You can stop listening if you want. You can bleep it out if you want, in your mind or, you know. maybe pay someone to edit my stream so it's bleeped out so your delicate, precious little ears can't hear it. But, you know, I have so much respect for these people, dude. Special needs people, people with Downs, people with mental disabilities. I love them. They're like the best people. They, like, for real are just the best people. So wholesome. It's almost like they're closer to God than, like, anyone else. You know, children are probably closer to God. These people are probably just right there with children, or slightly above or slightly below, however you want to frame that. But they're just so good-natured, you know, and then the world kind of corrupts them. They don't understand, they can't comprehend why the world, like, won't let them just have fun and, like, hug people and love things and, like, feel good. They can't understand it. They don't understand rules and complicated things that we all, like, stress out about and get anxious about and obsess over and make our whole lives out and idolize and whatever. All the things that bring us, like, stress and chaos. They just can't understand it. And I like that. I respect that. That's cool. For real, though. And they're just, truly, again, I mean, I'll repeat myself, but they are just awesome. They're beautiful. Honest, wholesome, funny, caring, and just, like, in tune, dude. They are just, like, so in tune with, like, with emotions, with the vibes of the room. You know what I mean? They kind of get it. They feel it. If people are angry, they understand deeply. They are like empaths that deeply understand the anger, you know? If people are happy and dancing and playing music, they, like, deeply, passionately get into the music, you know? There was one guy there. He was kind of maybe a little more high functioning, but definitely still a little, you know, a little challenged. And he had in one hand, he had 2 full 12-ounce cans of soda. One was a Dr. Pepper and one was a Fanta. And he was taking sips of both. Like, you could tell he kind of had this weird obsession about, like, I want the tastes of, like, one and then the other, and then one and then the other. He didn't want to just have a Dr. Pepper and then a Fanta. It's like he wanted little sips back and forth of each kind, you know? For some reason, he was so fixated on that. That was his taste preference, you know? Which is weird, but funny. But the impressive thing was he was sitting there moving. He was, like, moving and talking to people behind him and talking to people and moving around and taking these sips. One hand, 2 full cans of soda. He's sipping on them, and he didn't spill a single drop. It was, like, weirdly, stupidly the funniest, most impressive thing I've ever seen in my life. Don't quote me on that, but it was so impressive. It was like, dude, he probably can't dress himself. He probably doesn't really know where he is right now. He probably couldn't tell you the city or the president or what year it is. He's kind of out there. He's kind of lost. He needs someone to, like, help him. You know what I mean? He's, like, at a daycare place because, like, he needs the help. And yet there's just, like, little things they can kind of do almost better than anyone else can. Like, could you do that? I was watching this guy, like, dude, I couldn't train myself to do that. I'm so clumsy with, like, 1 can of soda in my hand. This guy had 2 in one hand, balanced perfectly, not spilling, sloshing them, moving them, dancing around. I mean, it was impressive. It sounds stupid, but it was so impressive, and I just had that thought, like, dude, these people are amazing. Like, they're not just dumb. They're not just simple. They're not just helpless. Like, there's something about them that if you kind of channel them and focus them and, like, get them, like, interested or actively engaged in something good and productive, dude, they could be doing a lot of good and productive things. But in the meantime, they'll still do the good and productive thing of making us feel inspired and happy and good. They love their lives. They love the people in them. They appreciate things. They appreciate the day they're given, you know. They want to have joy and fun, and they just can't understand why the world won't let them. They can enjoy their lives fully, you know. But you and the others listening out there, and myself sometimes, we are retarded. Like, we are the ones that when I say retard, I'm talking about you. I'm talking about me sometimes. I'm talking about people out there in society that have, like, every chance. They have every opportunity. They've been given a fully functioning brain, and they've squandered it. They've chosen to be drunk. They've chosen to do drugs and be, like, psychologically outside of themselves, you know? They dilute themselves. They can't enjoy life without caffeine, which is, hey, I'm guilty of that. They can't enjoy life without tasty food. Hey, I'm guilty of that. It's that they can't enjoy the simple, easy stuff of just the day, of just the creation we are and the creation we are given, whatever that may be, you know? We crave, we're disgusting, you know? Every advantage and opportunity, time, resources, you know, people, community, like, we have so much, like, brain capacity and energy that's given to us, and you know, an ability like rights and privileges and chances and opportunities, you know, duties, to just do good, be good, love and be loved. And we squander it, and we don't, and we get lazy, and we're stupid, we're ignorant, you know. We waste our energy on things that don't matter at all. We waste our time and our energy on stuff, temporary stuff that doesn't matter at all. A false sense of security, things, consumer things, you know, being popular. We have every chance, every opportunity, and yet we're lazy, we're entitled, we're greedy, we're selfish, prideful, slothful, gluttonous, all the sins, uncaring, inconsiderate, drunk, high, you know, you name it, dude. We are retarded. Like, that is retarded. Like, when someone has everything going for them and they just, like, can't handle it and they start getting drunk because they just have this, like, addiction of, like, this fear of actually being successful. So they, like, sabotage themselves when they get close to actually getting success that they work for. That's retarded. Like, that guy's a retard. You know? You know? Does that make sense? I'll probably talk about this more on future streams as people keep getting more offended and stuff by it, but you know, the people who are like choosing to be stupid, the people who are throwing away what they've been given by God, to me, those are the retards. And then I'm in this room full of like specially disabled people that like can't dress themselves or wipe themselves and have no idea of like what money is, like what tomorrow is, the concept of tomorrow. And I'm looking at this room full of those people, and I'm like, dude, I'm like jealous of them. They're so happy. They're so complete. They're so appreciative. They're so loving and caring. And then I step outside that room, and I go back into, like, the reality of the real world, and it's just, like, road rage, like, literal road rage happening to me and around me, and, like, fighting and arguing and selfishness and greed and just everything's so gross and disgusting and despicable, you know? So I just want to clear that up. When I say retard, I'm talking about you. Not those precious little baby angels out there, you know? And I had this one, I was in Champaign earlier this year, and there was this one moment where I just was going one day, I was like going for lunch. Hit a big workout, which by the way, we're getting closer. We got about 25, 35 more pounds to go before I'm at my goal. We're down about 75 or 85 total in the last year and a half. Gotten stronger, gotten skinnier, but still work to be done, you know? Game ain't over. Job's not finished. Kobe Bryant, job's not finished. But I'm in Champaign, I go hit the gym really hard. Afterwards, I'm like, I'm going to go eat a big, giant, delicious Chinese meal. So I go to this takeout place, I'm in line, I'm being friendly with the cashier, talking to her, you know? Going to check out, and this, like, special needs guy, this mentally disabled man walks in. Smile, like the biggest smile I've ever seen in my life. Just so happy. He's kind of like doo-doo-doo, like in his head he's probably like humming a song, you know, like he's kind of like dancing, bobbing his head, like boop 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 boop, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. And he walks in with confidence, kind of interrupts me, hands the lady at the register like a gospel tract, walks back into the kitchen and starts handing out gospel tracts to the cooks and the other server lady. And then comes out, and the lady's like, oh, have a nice day. And he smiles and waves. He hands one to me, hands one to the people in the restaurant. And then he just goes on his merry way. He just walks outside the restaurant and keeps walking down the street onto the next business next door. And he goes inside, you know. And I was like, do you know him? Like, I'm still at the register just watching what just happened, you know. Blown away, filled with joy. Like, that was awesome. This confidence and joy this guy had was so inspiring instantly. And I asked the cashier, I'm like, do you know him? And they're like, no. I was like, have you ever seen him before? They're like, no. I was like, wait, you just let him walk into your kitchen like that? Like, he just so much confidence. Like, so unaware, but in the best way, where he's not afraid of, like, I'm going to go reach everyone with the gospel. I'm going to walk into that kitchen without asking, without permission, and hand those cooks back there a gospel. Like, he just didn't understand reality in the best of ways. It was like the filter that he did not have actually led to like more joy being spread, more of the gospel being spread, like more goodness being spread into the world, because he didn't have that filter that said, don't do that, you're not allowed to do that, it's going to be embarrassing if you do that, they're not going to like it if you do that, you know. And look, he's just spreading the gospel around town with a big giant smile on his face, loving Jesus, loving life. And so I go out of the restaurant, I put the food in my truck real quick, and I chase him down the street, and I stopped him, and I'm like, hey, brother, how are you? Like, that's awesome that you do that. And I'm starting to ask him questions. He couldn't talk. You know, he's looking at me, his eyes can't even focus on me, he's not really speaking words, like, he doesn't really get it. I mean, he couldn't even, like, understand I was asking him simple questions. Even when, I know I talk fast, I know I can ramble, I know I can misspeak, but even, like, slowing it down, like, what's your name? It's like he can't really have that conversation. It's like he's unable to probably dress himself. He can't speak. He can't tell someone his own name. Definitely can't read. And yet he's walking around town doing more than you are, Christian man, than I am, Christian man, than everyone at the local church is doing. Like, that guy probably has planted more seeds and led more people to Christ than you, me, and your church combined in the last 5 years. And how many people would look at him with pity, with, aw, poor guy, aw, what a horrible life, aw. And Jesus is like, well done, my good and faithful servant, welcome home. Runs out like the father of the prodigal son. Jesus is running past the gates to put a cloak on his son when his time comes to welcome him into heaven. And here on earth in this life, we're sitting around being like, oh, poor baby. What a horrible life. You know, he should have been aborted. His mom should have aborted him. It would have just been better for everyone, you know. Oh. It's like we have pity. We have sympathy. We judge them. We call him names. We mock them. And yet that is like the number one servant of Christ here on this earth. The most joy, the most happiness, contentment, hope, you know, just emanating from the guy's heart like rivers, like flowing rivers of righteousness, you know. And that guy will never be called retarded by me, you know. And if I hear you for real, not in a joking way, not in a way that he would joke about back and forth, but if you behind his back, you to his face, you call that guy retarded as an insult, as a mock, fist, baby. Come meet these fists. Not really, but spiritually. But I'm going to tell you, man, that guy's the one that doesn't deserve that word. That's the guy that doesn't deserve to be called retarded or called names or pitied or, you know, you are. I am. Like your sister is. Your dad is. Like the people in our lives who have, like, again, just been given everything by God and squander it, get angry at him, hate him, wish for things that God isn't giving to you, and getting mad at him when he doesn't give it to you in your timing, in your way that you want. Yeah, that's a retard. You're a retard. I'm a retard sometimes. But that guy, that's a little baby angel. That's an angel of God right there. That's a man who, if you're lucky enough to enter into those gates of heaven, you surrender your heart and soul to Jesus Christ, you put your faith in him, when your time's done on this earth, you go to heaven and experience the light and the love of Jesus Christ in person. You're going to meet that angel. I don't know his name. He couldn't tell me his name. He couldn't tell me his church or what he was up to, but man, was he spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ and light and love to his people, you know? And that's who I'm jealous of. And that guy, again, is not a retard. I am. I am the retard. Oh no, it's me. Oh no, it's me. I am the retard. Let's talk real quick about how disgusting college coaches are. Let's get a good transition going. Let's talk about how, like, despicable and shameful college football has become. It used to be the greatest sport ever. It used to be so fun to watch, so awesome. The cool thing about it was, like, people, like the kids, young kids, student athletes were, like, playing for their school. They were playing for their state. They were putting that name on their jersey, like whatever, Tennessee, and it was like, I am a Tennessean. I'm fighting for this state. I'm fighting for my tribe. This matters. I'm going to be at the school. You know, when you make your decision to go to school, you're kind of locked into it. It's a very important decision, you know? next 4 years of your lives was shaped by the teammates around you and the coaches on the coaching staff, the people in the program, the student body, you know. These young men would be turned into men by their coaches. And now college football is like money everywhere. People stealing recruits, lying to recruits just leaving after a year, taking a bunch of money with them as they go out the door. Every team every year just transfer portals. Half the team just disappears. No one's staying 4 years. No one's actually being coached. The coaches are leaving. Like, everything's so gross and horrible. It's worse than pro sports at this point. And no one's doing anything about it. Everyone's putting up with it, or they really like it when they're making money off of it. Somehow, some way. But all of it's just gotten so immoral. It's beyond just like a game. Like, there's problems with the game. It's like off field. It's gotten so horrible, dude. So many people are like getting hurt by this. And then we just keep cheering. We just keep buying the tickets, keep buying the jerseys, keep going to the games, doing the chants, singing the songs, you know. But college football has just become a soap opera for frat boys. Like, it has become an excuse, an outlet for young men to, like, instead of watching The Bachelor and feeling gay, they watch, like, shows on YouTube about grown men talking about young men transferring and being recruited and coaches being stolen and all this, like, nonsensical, like, cheating scandals and sex scandals and stuff. It's so bad, man. It's just so bad. We won't get into everything I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about Notre Dame and just join a conference or scram, you know? You know, Notre Dame got left out of the thing. They got all sad. They got all butthurt, dude. Just join a conference or don't compete for the championships with the other conferences that everyone else in the entire college football that is in a conference competes for. You want to be special, you want to be different, you want to make all your money and keep all your money and not spread it around a conference or whatever. You want favorable things. You cheered for years, cheered so loudly for years about how special you were and all this special treatment you got, how you're better than other teams, how because you don't have a conference you're better, you're superior, you know, we're above those conferences. And now when it all comes crashing down at you all at once and you're basically kicked out of the playoff for not being in a conference, now your tears mean nothing. Your tears are delicious and sweet to your rivals' fans, to the other people who've been putting up with your crap for years, you know? It's like the bully has finally gotten his comeuppance. And it's like, sorry, man, everyone's actually kind of enjoying it. Not only are people not having sympathy for you, but, like, people are cheering it on. They're enjoying it. Like, ooh, let me lick up those tears. Ooh, let me lick up those tears off your cheeks. Ooh, so delicious, you know? It is. It's like the bully. It's like the bully's finally getting it. But finally, you know, someone in the movie finally stood up to the bully. And he got punched, but he delivered an even bigger punch back, and the whole schoolyard gasps and stops. What just happened? Billy the bully just got slapped back. That's never happened before. And he starts crying, and then he gets in trouble by the teacher. You know, it's one of those heroic moments where the bully gets his comeuppance. And Notre Dame right now, the bully is like, why is no one helping us or advocating? Or yeah, it's just kind of funny. Whatever. Playoff is a mess. They're just, you know, it should only be like 6 teams, 8 teams. It's 12 right now. They want to make it 16. They're going to make it eventually 24. Mark my words, they will just keep expanding this. More games, more money. They just want more of our money. They don't care if it's a good thing. They don't care if it's helpful. They don't care how messy it gets. The people making money just want to keep taking in your money. Keep bringing it in. Come on. More teams, more playoffs. And no one's stopping it. No one's putting their foot down and saying no. You know? So these guys are just going to keep taking and taking and taking. We're not protesting. No one's stopping it. It's just going to keep happening. So mark my words. We're going to get 16-team playoff. Everyone will complain about that. Be emotionally swayed to be angry. And then they'll all, you know, we'll just get a bigger playoff. And then everyone will get mad and angry and emotionally manipulated into getting more playoffs and more money for people that aren't your friends or helping your community, you know? They don't care. They don't care about us. They don't care about the athletes. They don't care about the staff, the students, the taxpayers, you, me. They won't do what's right, ever, until they take more from us and more from us, or until we stop them from taking more from us. Got to put our feet down at some point. And our coaches, we'll do this real quickly, but our coaches just horrible people. Like, does a coach just have to, like, is it in their contract these days? Like, you have to be horrible, you have to be a liar and a cheater and a degenerate, or else we will not give you the $10 million a year to coach this football team. They're all like perverts and crooks and liars and thieves and just so shady these days. It's so cutthroat these days. There's so much money involved. The stakes are getting so high that when you're like a good guy like James Franklin, or you're a good guy like Mike Leach, or you're a good guy like Art Briles, you're going to get thrown under the bus for some nonsense. You're going to get your name smeared. You're going to get thrown out and never given another contract. You're going to be pushed aside. And then you have these guys that are just like cheating on their wives all the time. They're like lying and stealing, hiring prostitutes. Hugh Freeze hires prostitutes on his road trips and then gets a contract from Liberty University to be the coach of a Christian university just like a year or two later. It's like, dude, the Christians don't look at this guy and go, you're like a degenerate, horrible person who got fired from his last job for hiring prostitutes. And you're pretending to be this family man, this Christian man. I'm a Christian man. I'm instilling Christian values in the young men on my teams. And then you're like on road trips buying whores. Sorry, bro. Like, sorry. That needs to just be over. That's it. His career's over. It can't even especially be a Christian university like Liberty is giving this guy, what, $5 million a year? So horrible. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Until a university like Liberty puts their foot down and says no. You're the best choice, you're the best candidate, we'd love to have you, I'm sure you'd win us a lot of games, but you're a degenerate, evil person, and we're not going to hire you to coach our young men. We're not actually going to trust you with that, sir. Be on your merry way. Hopefully, like a degenerate state will take a chance on you. But we don't. The Christians hire him, he wins games, everyone cheers him on, they get sad when he leaves for an even bigger school to make even more money, and there's just no worse his punishment. You know, Steve Sarkisian's drunk in public. Brett Bellema and his wife are getting all drunk and rowdy in public. You got Pete Carroll and Jim Harbaugh, like, cheating to win. They just, like, cheated to win, and then they just left. They left. They got rewarded with NFL contracts. Their punishment for cheating, for breaking the rules and winning, and taking millions and millions of dollars from all the other schools in college football, all the trophies that probably rightfully belong to other people who weren't cheating, you know, they're just going to take their money and run onto the NFL and make even more money and then end up in the Hall of Fame. They're going to get rewarded and promoted and given trophies and accolades for being cheaters, for being horrible, for being immoral. They are rewarded, you know? You got, well, yeah, Bobby Petrino, like, cheats on his wife with some student athlete, gets in a motorcycle crash, lies about it, tries to save his butt. He's just back to being a coach, making millions of dollars. Just keep going down the list. And, you know, this recent news this week was Sharon Moore in Michigan cheating on his wife. You know, the whole athletic department is covering it up. The Michigan athletic department is covering it up until they lock in their recruits for next season. They start their coaching search. They start putting feelers out for other coaches that they're going to hire. It's like they needed a nice exit route. Instead of doing the right thing and being like, dude, he's cheating with a university employee and, you know, basically funneling university taxpayer funds to his mistress, hush money, so that she won't expose the scandal. And then when the scandal was pretty inevitably coming out and everyone was finding out about it, they still hit the brakes before firing him, before doing the right thing, until it was, like, good for them. Until they could get their PR, you know, their public relations, their image in order, before it didn't hurt them, before they didn't lose any recruits because of it, you know? Perfectly timed before the transfer portal. It's like, dude, everyone there, Sharon Moore's a bad guy, but even Michigan, that whole department, has been cheating, has been doing all this shady stuff, but then that is so despicable, it's so evil, you know, and everyone freaked out when Joe Pa, whatever, didn't turn into that coach that was a pedophile, which, again, more coaches, more legendary Hall of Fame coaches being horrible, being rewarded, being forgiven quickly. And then you got a guy like Mike Leach, who's like a really good guy, who just gets his, like, life ruined because someone didn't like that they were playing his son, you know? It's like the good guys become the villains, and then the horrible people get, like, NFL contracts and Hall of Fame inductions and praise on TV all the time, you know? Just perverts, liars, these dangerous, reckless, weak, pathetic men get rewarded with hundreds of millions of dollars, you know? And then Kiffin, the whole news all about this Lane Kiffin guy. I'm a Tennessee fan, so obviously I'm a little biased, but I've kind of liked him. I've kind of thought he's funny. I've respected his comeback, you know, as a coach or whatever. But again, I mean, this dude is just a pervert. He's a liar. He's a thief. He will leave everyone if it suits him. He's clearly a narcissist. He lied about having a dog for like 3 years just so he could look better, so he could rehab his public image, and so he could get recruits and, you know, look good in public. It wasn't even his dog. Imagine like taking pictures with like your neighbor's dog and just pretending on social media like you have this cute dog, so that people will think, oh, he's a good, responsible man. He takes care of that dog. It's so cute. And then finding out 2 years later that like this guy just lied about having this dog. It wasn't his at all. You know? It was the university's dog, and he for real acted like, this is my family's dog. My family loves this dog. Crazy, dude. How narcissistic and insane do you have to be to just lie about that kind of stuff, you know? And we won't, I mean, there's too much to even go through with this guy. But there's like, I have like a whole giant page. We're not going to talk about it, but dude, he like literally just lets his daughter whore around campus. He like literally like allows his players to just hook up with his daughter. Horrible. What a great dad, you know? He's also making up fake aliases. What was it? Joey Freshwater and Jimmy Chestnut. He like makes up these aliases, puts on a cheap disguise, and goes to the college bars in town where he's coaching and literally preys upon young girls. Like, he goes and hooks up with young, inebriated women, sorority chicks and whatever, girls at the bar at a college campus. You know, obviously throwing his money around, throwing his status around, putting a cheap disguise on so he quote-unquote won't get caught. And he just bangs the young women in your community. He preys upon the women in your community. I mean, your daughters are being preyed upon by that guy. That sweating, gross, old, drunk guy is going to bars and preying upon your daughters and then laughing about it in public. Ha ha! No, my name's not Joey Freshwater, it's Jimmy Chestnut. Ha 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 ha! He's just laughing about the fact that he's fucking your daughters. And then the parents of those daughters that are being preyed upon will buy tickets to the next game. They'll buy jerseys. They're like, yeah, Kiffin's our guy. He's really winning a lot of games for us. Man, he's really turned us from being a not good team to one of the best teams in the country. Yeah, he's a little gross and creepy. Yeah, he hooked up with my daughter and, you know, didn't call her back, left her. Just, you know, one more body count, one more bedpost notch for my daughter when she's like away at college. I don't care. I'm an idiot. I'm a cuck. I'm a man in America who likes football. Yeah, Kiffin, keep winning us games. I don't care that you're a liar, that you're a cheater, that you're cheating on your wife, that you're like whoring your daughter out, that you're preying upon young women. No, we like you. You're winning football games for us. Here's a bunch of money. And then instantly he leaves because he's a snake, because he's a liar. He leaves for a better job, a better, bigger school with prettier women to prey upon, with more money, you know, given to him, with more resources so he can win more games, you know, in a cooler, funner city, in a funner place, etc., you know. Leaves Ole Miss and goes to LSU because of him, because of what's best for him, not his family, not the guys on his team that he recruited to go to this school. He made promises that he'd stay there, he'd train them up, he'd win them championships, he'd get them ready for their pro careers or just their lives in general. I'm going to take you from the young boy you were at age 18 and turn you into a man of God. Because, by the way, he also pretends to be a Christian. He, with his words, says he's a Christian, by the way. Oh, did you think we're talking about a non-believer? No, we're talking about a guy who just lied about being a Christian, and everyone ate it up because everyone didn't care. Because the red flags are smacking all these people in the South, all these Bible Belt Christians in the face about how disgusting and despicable and horrible this guy is. Just red flags like smacking people in the face, and they're still just like, I don't care, he's winning us football games. I don't care, he's bringing in millions for my university. Keep it up. And then as soon as he leaves for a better school, it's instantly like the text messages start coming out, the rumors, you know, all the stuff starts coming out. Clearly he was like trying to blackmail people and bribe people, and all the dirt comes out when they're angry, you know. But weren't you guys, like, why didn't you reveal the dirt when he was your coach? You know, yeah, it's funny and cool now that all the players are talking smack about how horrible he is and how bad his character is, how much of a liar he is. Yeah, all these Snapchats and text messages are coming out from girls that he's like clearly like cheating on his wife with and preying upon, you know, and just disgusting. He's like this old man. He's going around hooking up with like cheerleaders and sorority chicks and stuff. And so, yeah, all this dirt and all this bad stuff comes out after he leaves. And it's like, even you guys, where were you? Where you had this dirt and yet you hid it. You strategically lied. You strategically withheld the fact that your coach was gross and disgusting. He was a pervert. He was a liar. You held back the information because it suited your interests. Because he won you football games. Because he made you millions of dollars. Because he was fun and popular and people liked him. You protected him. You protected the evil man. You cheered on the evil man because it was good for you a little bit. And then as soon as he's gone, oh, now he's a liar, now he's a cheater, now he's horrible, oh, we should have known better. It's like, yeah, you did know better, actually. You clearly knew better, and you pretended not to because it benefited you financially or reputationally, you know? But that's like the state of our world right now, dude. Like, Christians tolerating and supporting evil for entertainment. Like, how much are Christians just going to Disneyland? We're just buying the next degenerate, evil, horrible coach to come coach our football team. How much horrible crap, like horrible, evil stuff do we put up with? Do we keep giving our money to, our attention to, our support behind? Politicians, entertainment, business, like economic opportunities. Like, how much stuff in your life is just freaking evil, dude? like wicked people, evil people, and you celebrate them. You defend them. You support them. Oh, they entertain me. Oh, I enjoy watching their movies. I enjoy hearing them sing. Yeah. They're clearly like degenerate, horrible, evil people, but they make me laugh. They make me feel good. They win us football games. They make beautiful art. And that excuses how horrible they are. You're going to look past. You're going to cover up how horrible they are so that it doesn't look bad when you support them. When they're on your team, when they're in your corporation, when they're the coach of your program. You're going to disregard all the horrible, evil shit they do. Because, well, it benefits me over here. It's making me money. It's helping my reputation, whatever the case may be. It's helping me. And I selfishly want to be better off in this world right here, right now. I want to live better now in this temporary world with my stuff and my false sense of security. And I'll just ignore the fact that, like, I'm doing a deal with the devil. I'm, like, befriending evil people, that I'm, like, supporting wickedness, spreading. I'm not doing anything to stop it. I'm not doing anything to even neutralize it. I'm helping it grow. I'm helping it spread. By promoting it, by covering up what it's doing, by supporting it, by giving it millions of dollars, you know? You're just giving the beast your care, your attention, your resources. And then over here at church, you're like pretending to be against the beast. You're like telling people you're a Christian, that you don't like evil. That you're like for the good, true, and beautiful in this world. And then literally your actions are like, well, I'm going to do deals with the devil because it makes me feel good. Because it helps me personally, you know? It's just so horrible. And we'll not talk about Kiffin anymore. That's it. We'll wrap that up. But I just love that, you knew I was a snake before you let me in. That's Kiffin. LSU, good luck. Hey, Louisiana State. Hey, all you Christians in Louisiana who are cheering right now that, yay, we just got Lane Kiffin. We're going to be so good again. Our football team's going to win games. We're going to win championships again. Yay! And you're cheering it on. And then you're going to go to church on Sunday. You're going to on Saturday night go to a game where you're going to give your money, your time, your attention to that guy. That guy. Your taxpayer-funded school is going to give that guy $100 million. And he's going to prey upon your daughters. He's going to lie to your face. He's going to leave. If there's one thing I know, he's going to leave when a better job offer comes. NFL or a bigger school or whatever. He's going to do what suits him best. Congratulations, you just hired Satan and you're cheering about it. So when this falls apart, when this all backfires in your face, and in 4 years when all the dirt comes out about how horrible and evil he was and how mad you are about him, I don't want to hear, again like Notre Dame, I don't want to hear your tears. I don't care. Keep crying, little babies, because I saw what you cheered for. I watched as you cheered for literally Satan coaching your team. I saw you cover up his horrible things. I saw what you did. And after the fact, when it backfires, when it blows up in your face, when your Lord and Savior asks you, when you're on your knees, when your time here now in this place is done, and you're on your knees before Jesus Christ, your Lord and Savior, And he looks you in the eyes and he says, why did you support Lane Kiffin? Why did you make deals with the devil? Why did you tolerate evil? Why did you put up with all those evil people in your life? And you're going to have to look at him and say, Lord, but it made me money. But I felt safe because I had like a bigger, nicer house and a nicer community. And I felt cool and popular and liked because I had a good reputation, because I was in whatever, you know. You're going to have to look at Jesus and give an account for all the evil that you tolerated, that you made deals with, that you put up with. And it might sound stupid that I'm talking about a college football coach, but it's one example of many, and it's a very powerful example everyone's talking about right now. Although this episode comes out in like February, it might not be very relevant. But when you're giving your account before your Lord and Savior, when you're asking for forgiveness, and he replays those moments where you were cheering on Lane Kiffin when you knew he was gross, you knew he was disgusting, you knew what he was doing at night in those college bars downtown with all those young, drunk women, those young, drunk teenage women that he's preying upon. You're going to put up with that and excuse that and ignore that because you wanted to feel good about your football team being good? Good luck with that, man. I, for one, am not going to do that. And I, for one, am glad. I'm a Tennessee fan. Josh Heupel, clip this. I want to be wrong on this. I don't think Josh Heupel is going to like win us a championship, but he wins us games. He's entertaining. He's fun. His players like him, and he seems like a good guy. You know, hey, in 5 years when the cheating scandals come out and he's just one more on the list of degenerate, horrible coaches out there, so be it, you know. And hey, if he turns everything around and wins us a championship and proves me wrong, yes, I would gladly be proven wrong if my team does better than I'm blackpilled about. No, my team's never going to win a championship. If we do that, I'd love to be wrong. But that's the trade-off. I would rather have a guy like Heupel, a good man, a man who's like recruiting young men honestly and fairly. Yeah, he's giving them money, but he's like actually treating them like men. He's raising them up from boys to become men. He's like a good moral man. He's not lying. He's not cheating. Again, I mean, I could be wrong. At least what I know so far. And it's like I would much rather have that. I'd much rather be like a mediocre team with like an awesome man representing my school, representing my state, and taking the young men in my community and transforming them into really like legendary crushers, you know? And I would rather have that than hire Lane Kiffin, who's going to like prey upon the daughters of my community and lie to us and cheat from us and steal from us and blackmail us on his way out for bigger and better job offers years down the road. Any day of the week. Any day of the week, you know? And I think Christians should too, you know, should be doing that more. But when someone shows you how evil they are or how evil they're willing to be, take note. Take note, you know? Make preparations. When someone shows you their true colors, when that mask slips and you get a glance of who they really are, not who they're pretending to be, who they're showing the world, what they want the world to see themselves as, that mask they put on. When that mask slips, when you see what's behind it, don't forget it. And forgive them, but do not forget. And don't be a victim. Don't be stupid. Don't fall for it again. And no tolerance with evil, man. No deals with the devil. No tolerance for evil. No 1 foot in, 1 foot out. No sitting on the fence, dude. You're a follower of Christ. You're a follower of Christ. You need to be putting your freaking foot down on stuff like this. No, I will not be supporting that coach. What would happen if all the Christians of Louisiana State University, all the fans of Louisiana State University who are like Christians, they're like, I want to stand on business for Christ. And they literally run this guy out of town. They're like, get your degenerate ass out of here. That would be like the greatest story of our generation. That would be revival. Hey, Christians, you want revival? You sing every Sunday about how much you love Jesus and how much you want him to powerfully move in this country. Yeah, it starts with you guys just standing up and saying no. Standing up and putting your foot down and saying, I'm not going to be a part of this crap. Yeah, I love this university, but you just hired Lucifer to be its coach. I'm out. Here's my jerseys back. I'm not buying any tickets. I'm not paying attention at all. I'm not defending anyone. I'm not supporting anyone. And I'm going to tell everyone at my church to join me. And I'm going to have them tell everyone at their Bible studies and their, you know, every little coworker and friend and family and every Christian that's a fan of this school is going to put their foot down and not buy tickets, not buy jerseys, not donate, and attach little notes that say, yeah, I'm not supporting Kiffin. He's an evil, degenerate fuck. Phone got cut off there for a second. Probably a good place to end. I was getting a little fired up, but I think you get it. I think you know where I stand. That's my position. Let's just stop being put to sleep by this satanic lullaby. Let's stop being asleep and being inactive, being cowardly and pathetic. Let's start being men of God that start putting our foot down on stuff like this and not tolerating it for like the dumbest reasons ever, for like entertainment, you know? We treat these sports guys like idols and we pity the mentally disabled. You know, the children of God that have some mental disabilities, we like pity them. We don't want to touch them. The homeless people on the street, ew, gross. And then like this disgusting guy like Lane Kiffin, you'd be like throwing yourself at him to shake his hand and to get an autograph. Can I get a picture with you, Lane? Lane, can my daughter get a picture with you? And then you're just walking past the angel on the street that wants to love and serve God and his children, but had some unfortunate luck and is currently in a bad place. You walk on by him with judgment and disdain and scorn. You don't want to touch him. You don't want to deal with it. The mentally disabled person, someone else, we'll pay someone else to deal with that problem. We should just abort him and get rid of him. Get him out of here. It's crazy, man. The good ones who don't add value or profit to you are unwanted. Goodness, righteousness, truth, beauty, if it doesn't profit you, if it doesn't benefit you, how seriously are you going to take it? How much are you actually going to pursue it? How much are you actually going to like sacrifice to obtain it? Or are you just going to do what's ugly, what's false, what's evil, what's wicked, because it suits you, because it benefits you, because it brings you more stuff here and now in this temporary place? The bad guys who bring you entertainment and pleasure that you crave for, that you beg for. Like animals, dude. Like animals. Like retards. That's why you're retarded. That's why I say the word retarded. Because retards like you, Louisiana State football fans who are Christians, you're retards. Sorry, you're retarded. And I'm going to stand on business with that word, because you are literally the definition of it. You cheer, yay, we just stole a good coach. He's going to win us football games and championships. And then you're going to ignore all the gross, evil crap he's about to do in your city, in your community, to your daughters. That's retarded. And with that, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. seanathancory.com. Follow me, find me, subscribe to me. Let me know what you think. And stop being retarded. And stop doing deals with the devil, dude. One day you will be before Jesus Christ on your knees, and you will have to give an account for what you did and did not do. Don't regret it. Don't make the mistake of thinking you're all good. Don't make the mistake of thinking some of the good stuff you did in the past or might do in the future kind of outweighs or balances out all the evil you tolerated or put up with or dealt with or teamed up with, cheered on, advocated for, defended, and supported. Is it worth it? Is it worth the eternal consequences? With that, I love you guys. Take care. Do good. Be good. I'll see you soon. I'm going to go enjoy the beach one last time. One last day. Love you guys. We're going to do a little bit of beholding, a little bit of admiring, a lot of appreciating, a lot of giving thanks to God for making this and making me and allowing me the chance to experience it, and also the chance and opportunity to share it with you. Dads running with their children, old men fishing, dudes out in the waves surfing, bright blue, sunshiny day here in Southern California. Fishing boats off past the waves in the distance. Isn't this awesome, dude? Isn't God pretty cool? Isn't God pretty cool, man? Love you guys. I'll see you soon.